Hello everyone, welcome. Today, I want to talk about Professor Layton and the Last Specter for the DS, the original DS. This is the fourth entry into the Professor Layton series, and if you don't know what Professor Layton is, it is a kind of a touch point-and-click adventure game loaded with puzzles. You use the touch screen for almost all the puzzles and everything, along with interacting your adventure in the world of Professor Layton. It's usually a mystery case, and as you talk to NPCs or explore and poke around the environment, you'll find puzzles or be given puzzles to solve. Now, you have a very interesting story and puzzles. So if you don't like puzzles, you probably won't like the game overall. So, puzzle centric you must be. Now, if you don't play a lot of the puzzles and you want a lot of the story and you try to do a whole bunch of story segment, you're gonna get a brick wall that's gonna be like, whoa, you need this many puzzles solved, so you need to go and solve those puzzles and then come back. So you can't just skip puzzles if you're not familiar with Professor Layton. This is the fourth entry, like I said. And originally, with the three games, Diabolical Box, Curious Village, and Unwound Future is the order of what ones I like the most, at least. They were, in order of when they came out, was Curious Village, Diabolical Box, and Unwound Future. And I will explain why they're ordered like that in my favorites in the story aspect of this review. Yeah, this is going to be a two-part review. We're going to talk about what I think about the game and that here, and tell you if I recommend it or not, and then blab about the story in the second part for those who don't want to be spoiled the story. Okay, so basically, The Last Specter is a prequel to the series, so it takes place before the Curious Village, and it's mainly about how Luke met Professor Layton and became his apprentice. So you get explained that, which has remained a mystery until Last Specter. And I would probably put Last Specter underneath Diabolical Box in my favorite between Diabolical Box and Curious Village. It was really good, and I did not really see any faults with it, really. There was only one reason for that, and I'll explain that in my story part. Now, improvements The Last Specter did. It continued the super hint. You got 3 hints, the super hint. It continued having the mysteries spread it out through the game, which are multiple mysteries, which was an improvement the second game and so on did, versus Curious Village having all the mysteries solved at the end. But there are a few slight tweaks to the game. The icons, I don't remember any of the icons for like moving in your briefcase and that being movable on the touchscreen. Or maybe I never noticed, but you can actually click on and move them. And as far as I know, you couldn't do that in the old ones. If you can, then I actually never noticed. There's new little mini games. In each Professor Layton game, they always gave little mini-games, and this one has a mini-game about puppets and fish. And as you solve puzzles, you get puppet pieces and that to interact stories and fish to feed. In The Last Specter, there's a lot of interesting NPCs, there's more voice acting and cutscenes than ever in the game, along with a really deep story. Overall, it's just more fine-tuning of the best aspects of the game. However, I have to retract one thing I said. There is one fault that I had with the game. And it's just an opinion thing. Now, the reason I like Diabolical Box more than The Last Specter has to do with the end. And does not mean the end in this game sucks. It's a great ending. However, this Layton fault, I guess you could view as one thing I found as a downer anyway. In the Diabolical Box, you had kinda like boss puzzles, you could say, at certain points of the story. These puzzles weren't normal puzzles. You didn't have a certain amount of points you could get, and every time you got wrong, you got less points. They were just a puzzle you needed to solve to continue the story. That was somewhat related to the situation. I liked that. They took that out in the last Specter and replaced it with similar segments where Professor Layton will be kind of like a teacher and ask the people he's currently talking to, what did we learn today? What should this? That? What do we need to do this? And you'll be asked as one of the secondary characters of his assistants, or at one point near the end of the game, some of the NPCs helping him save the town from the mystery of the game. And I didn't like that. It was not as interesting because these boss puzzles, as I like to put them in Diabolical Box, were treated a lot like puzzles. But this was more like a yes and no kind of thing, with either 2, 3 choices, and if that's wrong, that. And I really don't like it when Professor Layton games rely on those kind of puzzles anyway. Those puzzles exist in all the games, but if you ever notice, they're not incredibly common. Because, especially when they're a two-way answer, that's why, on those kind of puzzles, if you fail, you lose almost the entire value of the puzzle, because then you only have 1 or 2 choices left, and you just guess again and again, instead of actually working out the puzzle. And I didn't really like that aspect of the last Specter, but everything else is really good, and that's just a small thing, just a wee little small thing. Overall, the entire experience of the game is more goodness of Professor Layton, and there's no real drop of quality at all. Level 5, you have astoundingly keep doing a really excellent series that just keeps moving up. So, I highly recommend that you buy The Last Specter on the DS. It's fun, it's great. If you love puzzles, you should go get it. Now, if you excuse me, I have some puzzles to solve, because a true gentleman leaves no puzzle unsolved.